past my bedtime really, but let's do some stuff for a little bit. All right. Been getting a lot of work done. Pretty happy with it. I mean, but is it work since, it's my choice to do. Came to a conclusion today, and that was I shouldn't be worried about how I paint any of the superhero figures that I've painted since they're not representing the superheroes that they are. So, a few of them I've done already, the right way or whatever, but man, it's better without them. But let's see now. Yeah, there's probably my boy Let. No, Crafting Gamer, how you doing, bro? Crafting Gamer. He's crafty. Yeah, I was watching Bruce's game last night. Were you in that? Were you the one that got killed? Somebody got killed. I don't know if they brought him back to life or not, but Bruce was definitely doing some shit. Characters were dying. I was all like, damn, Bruce, okay. I mean, but sometimes the dice just gonna be that way, right? I need to actually clean my camera lens. Looks like it's got freaking a layer of Vaseline on it or something. And trust me, guys, I haven't been in here doing anything untoward, so don't get any thoughts. But yeah, it's looking pretty rough. So I will have to now. You get to see like a view of my wrecked ass desk here. Let me move the paints aside and maybe open up an area that I can actually put some miniatures down so that you can see. Oh, you playing the low level game? Yeah. Yeah, I actually was streaming, but what I did is I streamed his game and kind of critiqued it as it was going on. And so yeah, when the one guy went down and was like, I am dead, Dad, and everything, I was like, ooh shit, Bruce is killing him. Here it comes. I was just adding my stupid commentary onto Bruce's game. Poor Janet was just playing her flute and doing her thing, just trying to make bards worthwhile or something. I don't know if that's what class she was playing. It's like, good luck on that, I mean, people have been trying to make bards worthwhile for shit. Since second edition, maybe? Third edition? I have only ever seen a bard come in useful one time in a combat. And in that particular case, the bard was played by my wife. So you automatically know I'm going to be a little biased. But a bunch of ogres were running down you got ogres. A bunch of ogres were running down a tunnel towards the adventurers. And she cast a grease spell. And it worked really well. And that is the only time I've ever seen a bard do anything worthwhile. It's like, otherwise, there's really any other class would be better to have in a group than a bard. Any other class. I mean, if you're worried about magic, well, get a mage. If you want healing, get a cleric. If you want the thief abilities, get a thief. It's like the poor bard, shit at everything and masters at nothing. That's the bard. They suck at everything and they're not good at anything. It's like, damn, man. That's a hard way to go, but okay. But for some reason, ladies like bards. It's kind of like in my home game, I find my wife ends up playing clerics a lot. And I don't actually know why. I think it's just maybe it's her nurturing, you know, tendencies coming out. She wants to help. She's not looking for all the glory. She's just looking to help and keep people up and fighting. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe. Whatever it is, it's just how she do. And yeah, like almost every one of her characters in the 25 years I've known her and we've been gaming together, almost every one of her D&D characters has absolutely been like a cleric. Almost. I'd say like 90%. And then, of course, she played a bard and a fighter and a knight, and then back to clerics. And yeah, I don't know why, but that's what she does. So we got this guy right here. I painted him up pretty quick. If you look really close at him, it's basically the Homelander from The Boys. But I mean, it's not like it matters, for my Marvel game. And, it was funny too, because one of the players, I was like, you could be like this or that or the other. And the guy was like, but that's not a Marvel hero. And I'm like, I'm not holding to that, If you want to make a hero based on a DC hero, you absolutely can do that. And he didn't. He decided to play a character based on Logan. Except his version of Weapon X is a Indian from some, tribe from the Northeast or whatever that's been alive since, that time and fought in the Revolutionary War with on the side of the colonials and, all of that sort of thing. But if somebody wanted to play a flyer, there is Homelander, who could also just be anyone who flies and likes wearing blue. Not really a big deal there, Now, in the what about of this video, you guys might have seen where it said, enter the Florida Man. And the reason for that is my brother Hungar decided to make a character. And he made Florida Man. And his character background is that he was out in the Okeechobee, the swamps near Lake Okeechobee, doing whatever he is doing, smoking meth or stripping copper line or whatever he's doing. I don't know. And he saw an alligator swimming in the lake with like a knife sticking out of its head. So he ran across the lake real quick on his airboat and jumped off the airboat onto the alligator and wrestled it down and pulled the knife out of the alligator's head. And when he did that, it caused some kind of cosmic being to appear before him and grant him the powers of Florida, the spirit of Florida. He would become the incarnation of the state of Florida. Therefore, he is the Florida Man. And so the miniature he picked to represent himself is pretty interesting. It's Jack Burton from Big Trouble in Little China. That is the Florida Man. Which, I mean, don't let the Jack Burton being a normal looking guy fool you. his character is actually very powerful. He's like, I mean, he's got super strength. He could throw a car. If he could like grab a car and just chuck it. He's got super toughness, so he's got like a high damage resistance, and he's got also some fighting skills and some random shit. Plus, he can fly at very fast speeds. He's got flight 2, so I mean, this guy can whip ass when he wants to, right? Just zoom on out, right? But his character doesn't wear a costume or anything. He just dresses like a redneck with a knife and a Mac 10 or a TAC 10 for some reason. And so that is his character. And I'm going to let him play it because, you know, if he wants to play that character, he's going to play that character. That is A-okay with me. I'm fine with it. Let's do it. Now, we'll see. My wife is still considering between like Domino and, you know, of course, she'll have to make up her own name and everything. But, you know, she'll have the powers of whoever she chooses. So we'll see who she chooses. One of the ladies I game with wants a Deadpool character, so I think she wanted to play Deadpool, but I'm like, no, everyone's characters will be original, but you can still, you know, like the template from a pre-existing character if you want. So we'll see. We'll see what she does, whether she how she handles it, you know. But so yeah, we've got the mutant who doesn't have titanium or adamantium anything because he was never captured and experimented on by Weapon X. And he is an Indian of Iroquois or something like that derivation. So that's his thing. We got Florida Man. We got a Charger, so basically Gambit, somebody who can grab a object and charge it up and chuck it at somebody. And Deadpool, a crazy person. And hell, I don't know. I mean, my bro Tony, I don't know if he's given a hint as to what he's thinking of or not. You know what I mean? Like, I really don't know. So if he wants to play well, there's so many things you could play though. I mean, so I don't know. It's like you could be that guy that just puts as much as you can into being as tough as possible. You can be a shapeshifter, obviously. Which means if you wanted to be like a Beast Boy clone, I know it's DC again, but you could do that. You could 100%, I mean, make the comedian Quicksilver's in the book. So if you want to play a speedster, you just copy the Quicksilver abilities. Spitting on myself. Or whatever, you know. I mean, it's at first I was kind of concerned about character generation a little bit. I was like, is this gonna be hard or not? And I was worried about nothing. The character generation for the Marvel game is actually pretty simple. You know, it's pretty much just choose your rank and then everything's based off of that. how many attribute points you get, how many superpowers you get, etc. And then all the superpowers, you have some that are just basic superpowers like mighty and sturdy and healing and whatever. And then you have some that are part of superhero trees. And the ones that are part of superhero trees, you know, there's prerequisites to get one versus another, etc., etc. So, yeah. Get out of the way, Florida man, you bastard. It's the main man coming in at you. That's right. The best bounty hunter in the known galaxy. Theoretically, the last of the Zarnians, except he is not the last. There's a female Zarnian out there, too. But hey, whatever, you know. Yeah, so the wife's choices that she's mulling over, because, you know, my wife, being your typical Danish person, cannot do anything without, you know, really, really thinking about it. You know what I mean? That's just the way she is. It's like anything she does has to be carefully plotted, thought about, checked, rechecked, rethought about. You know, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that's just kind of the way she is. So she's going to, like she was saying, that the domino sounds like a lot of fun, but then again, she don't know if she might rather play Storm. And then, of course, the Invisible Woman. She's looking at that one. And, of course, her favorite X-Men, Rogue. So, and like I said, of course, these will all be completely different characters than what I'm saying. They'll just have those power sets. So, if she chooses Rogue, she won't be Rogue. She'll have to come up with a name and everything, but she will have all of Rogue's powers and disadvantages too. You know what I mean? Just like the Indian guy who's playing Logan, you know, he's gonna have all of the everything that goes along with Logan, but he's not Logan. He hasn't told me what he's going to name the character, but he's that, you know. And I think that's good, actually. I'm like, cool, you know. That's a cool thing, you know. She can pick whichever one she wants, and one of her close female friends who games with us is the one that wanted to play Deadpool. But I'm like, look, we're not doing like that. We're not doing that. And then we were trying to come up with a team name, and somebody mentioned like East Coast Avengers. But I told them if they tried that, Tony Stark would send a cease and desist and maybe threaten to sue them. So yeah, they're not the East Coast Avengers. So now they are the East Coast Protectors or Guardians or something. So, all right, come on now, don't go too high, but don't go too low. That's like, isn't that the thing? You know, that's the whole thing right there. Oh, might have to hit some more blue on that. Definitely not perfect, but I'm happy with it. And that's what matters. That's right. Old school Captain America. Or he could be Captain Puerto Rico, honestly. I got to paint the white stars on the shield, as you can see, but, you know. So I was doing my best to try and paint all the figures to match like how they actually should be painted. And then I decided, screw that, and just start painting them however I thought they would look the best. And I've been having a lot more fun since I just started doing that. Since even though we're playing the Marvel superhero game, it's not necessarily in the Marvel universe. It's just I don't know, because like I said, I mean, if somebody wants a basic character on, like I made the comedian because he's my favorite superhero character, I guess. And so if someone wanted to make a character based on the comedian, I'm not going to stop them from playing it. Or if somebody wanted to make Rorschach, or if somebody wanted to, whatever somebody wants to do. So, okay, this is not easy at all. I'm going to have to go back and touch these up, I can tell. But, I mean, it looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. A private message. Oh, look, it's Bruce. Bruce, what's up, Bruce? Don't let me down. Bruce, don't let me down. What's up, homie?
Not much. How you been, man?
Oh, the same, really.
That's good to hear. Thank you for the kind comments earlier.
Oh, which ones? You're killing your players and it's hilarious?
I didn't quite kill them. I just dropped them down to negative con.
I heard the one guy being like, I think I'm actually dead. And
Yeah.
It's like, will this hill spell work? Yeah. I was listening. I actually restreamed you while I was painting so that I could watch your game
I saw that.
Comment on it, and be like, uh-oh, and shit like that. I hope you don't mind, but I was having a great time.
I took it as a compliment, sir.
Yeah, I was having a really good time. Me and Leth were watching the game as it was unfolding and being like, like freaking Waldorf and freaking what's his name?
Statler.
Yeah, just up there,
Oh yeah.
Statler and Waldorf. That was me and Leth. We were just up there being like,
Yeah.
We waited in line too long to see this show, but there wasn't a line. Exactly. Shit. We weren't saying anything like that though. But
I saw your commentary till I clicked off. That's fine. I enjoyed it. I threw three comments in there. How'd you like that Weissenstanfa, the beer?
I enjoyed it. I'd never had it before, but the wifey took me out to eat at the local German restaurant, and I, of course, ordered Slavic food. But that's what they get for having goulash. And they have attached to this place, it's called Hockenbrocks or something. And it's a Bavarian restaurant. And around the corner, they have a deli. And the deli has like all German stuff. You know what I mean? Like, whatever you can imagine. Jams and jellies and pudding and beer. And all from Das Fatherland. And I saw that, and I saw where it said the oldest brewery on earth. And I was like, I got to give that a shot. I mean, I drink Yuengling because I'm a patriot.
That's the oldest beer house in America.
And at the end of the thing, what I actually said was, about as good as the Yuengling, really, which for me is high praise. I was like, yeah, this is not bad. Not bad at all. I've got another one in the fridge. It's a lager, but it's not from the oldest whatever, but I haven't opened it yet.
See, my two German beers I go to, and there's like 3 or 4 that I really like, but I like Weissenstanfa that you tried.
Yeah.
Their original brew or anything they brew actually is really good, I think.
Yeah.
And then the other brew house is called Hofbrau,
Hofbrau.
and it's a very good beer. If you find their Marzen, their Fest beer, the Oktoberfest,
That's what I have in the fridge.
that's my
It's in a smaller bottle, but it says
yes.
Oktoberfest Brew or something on it.
Yes. That's one of my favorite blends of beer ever made. And
And
my
I'm
wife,
assuming they're following German beer law, so there's only like wheat, hops, and water in it.
yeah, that's all that you have in it. The Bavarian purity laws are fully enforced with them. They don't try to get fancy. They don't get all American microbrewish on you where they add cinnamon and honey and all the other stuff. And no, none of that. It's 4 varieties of brew, and that's it. I've told Cracking Gamer, like, if you want to try a really good beer, try Weissensteinfa or Hofbrau, because both of those are really very well done, and they taste good. You could have a beer of that with your father, and for a moment may get some peace, because him and his dad kind of argue a lot about just various BS. And I'd like to hear him one of these days say, like, my dad and I didn't have a
They
fight.
argue about what BS?
They don't give the beer that they make, either Weissensteinfa, anything that says we obey the Bavarian purity law, that has only 4 ingredients in it: the wheat, the hops, the yeast. They only allow certain mixtures of that, and
Right.
that you have to have that to have that stamp. That's kind of like the comic code stamp in the 1970s.
Right.
Publish, if you want to make this within these measurements, you have to have only these ingredients. Anything else is not allowed.
Right.
So I really love.
Captain Gamer was here. I don't know if he's still here or if he took off or whatever. But he popped in and said, "Hey."
Yeah, I see that. Yesterday's game we played was Pathfinder, as he picked up, and that was my party of 6 people, and there's like 4 cohorts in there, and it's for a module that goes from 7th to 20th, and I've done that module up to certain points, and 2 times I've had TPKs. The 3rd time COVID kicked off, and so we all abandoned it because nobody was showing up to play.
Yeah, that's what he said. He's, because I was like, "Were you in there?" And he's like, "No, I play in the low level game."
That's really not a quote unquote a low level game, but it's 7th level, halfway through 7th level is not low level. A lot of people, if you say we're at 7th level right now, they're like, "Oh, well, you must be getting ready to retire your game. What's your next character going to be?" Because that's the majority of people I talk to. They never go past 10th.
Yeah, that is not how I do it.
That's good.
Like, right now my group's full of 7, 8s. I think even 1 9. And a couple people started after or died, had to play new characters and stuff. But right now, like their latest in the D&D game, when we ended it, their big thing was trying to find trustworthy staff for the house they bought, because they had bought like a really big house in the wealthy area of the city of Greyhawk, and so they needed like a cook and some cleaners and a stable boy and all that. So my wife's character, who plays a cleric of Heronius, was actually going to her church and asking members of the congregation if any of them wanted jobs and stuff. So.
Now, have you ever played a game that for you it felt like you were honoring Frank Herbert?
Well, I did run Dune until the women had a revolutionary whatever and decided they didn't want to play Dune anymore.
Okay, that's sad.
Well, Here's what happened. 3 of the people at the table have never read Dune, watched Dune, know nothing about Dune. So a month into the game, they were just lost as hell. And so they went, because they're smart, and they complained to my wife. Because if they'd complained to me, I'd have made fun of them, right? So they complained to my wife about how they don't understand what in the hell is going on, right? So then my wife came to me and said, look, they don't understand what's going on. And maybe we should play something else. And since she has been pretty understanding when I've got gamer, ADHD and just switched a game, I told her, I said, hey, if you want to switch a game, this is your shot. And they picked Marvel. And I told them, fine. I said, and the second I catch you guys looking bored or not behaving, I'm going to just have the Juggernaut kick in your front door, and you can deal with that shit. And she's like, sounds good. So there you go. They're stationed, or their base is somewhere in Orlando, and they are the East Coast Guardians.
So I'm going to dial it over to that D&D game you're running, where you're running it like Dune. I got to ask, were you running it with a lot of politics involved, or
Yes.
faithful to Herbert's vision?
Yes. 100% faithful to Herbert's vision. They were members of a minor house that had been granted subfiefdom on Arrakis, because I was using the setting from the MMO. So Paul Atreides had never been born. But, Jessica had given birth to a sister, or a daughter, who was betrothed by, arranged marriage to Fade Rotha. And after a bit of the war, since Atreides did not get wiped out, the Emperor unleashed all of his Sardaukar to wipe out the Fremen, and pretty much did. And then declared Arrakis in a state of a war of assassins. So cannily. So yeah, no dropping thousands of troops on somebody, but if you can stab somebody in the dark, nobody sees it, no one sees it, right?
Correct.
And then they went to Catane and spoke to the Emperor, and my wife's character, Elizabeth Becca, basically she's not only a Bene Gesserit, but she had all of the charm abilities. Not like magic abilities or anything like that. Just she was very charming and personable and stuff. And she convinced the Emperor that House Becca should have a subfiefdom on Arrakis, and they would pay taxes in Antides and spice and Solari and everything like that. So he basically gave them, not basically, he did give them all of the land around the Hole in the Rock Siege, which they explored and decided not to live in because it was full of skeletons, where the Fremen there had made their last stand. And it was all wrecked and shit. So they had to spend some of the money they had earned from the spice trade to buy some Chom, company pre-constructed habs and shit like that to set up their little area, and then they put their house shield on it and called it a day, And I personally thought everything was going great, but that's because the players who were into Dune were having an amazing time. They were both playing like mentats, and they were both doing crazy shit and making poison and carrying slip tips and plotting to assassinate one person or another. Not in their house, but other people, and plus their arch enemy that had been the arch enemy of their house for like 300 years was also on Arrakis, House Najara. So there was a lot of plotting going on there because Najara absolutely despises them, right? So I mean, we're talking if they meet in the streets, it's going to be Canley on the spot, you know? And,
Makes for a very interesting campaign setup.
oh, yeah. And all they had to do is generate enough spice to pay the emperor. And if they didn't, he would take away their subfiefdom, and then they would be a house without a home. And that's basically, you know, you might as well be, what's it called?
A Ronin at that point.
Yeah, basically. But in Dune, you know, there's houses that basically went into exile because they'd had all their lands and everything stripped. So that's what would have happened to them. They would have, you know, had to go into exile, and they, of course, didn't want that. So yeah, they hired a smuggler played by another character who had a carryall and a harvester, and they were, you know, paying that person big money and also water in exchange for the spice. I mean, there was a million things going on. You know what I mean? All the characters were up to their freaking elbows in like stuff. As a matter of fact, what was going to happen before the game was called to an end is the Bene Gesserit Mother Superior was going to request Elizabeth Becca to bear a child, female, by Fade Rotha. And now if news got out that had happened, that could cause no end of issues with the Atreides, who, you know, are supposedly marrying their daughter to Fade. So to know that there could be a bastard child out there, you know what I mean? But they probably never would knew because, you know, Bene Gesserit, they would have kept that shit on the DL. So, yeah. Of course, my wife's character also would have the option to say no. But then that would have came with its own list.
What type of weight does that carry?
She can say no, but then she will no longer be trained by the Bene Gesserit sisterhood. I mean, she'll always be Bene Gesserit, but if you refuse them, then they stop training you. They kind of cut you loose, you know what I mean?
That's not a desirable outcome there for a lot of people that know.
Yeah, not really what you want if you're playing a Bene Gesserit, you know. But she already had like the Bendu whatever way and the voice, and you know, so she was about where Jessica was in the book, you know. She could do the voice, and she knew the weirding way for combat. And no, I don't mean sonic weapons.
The weirding way in the book is different than the weirding way in the movie.
Right. It's basically Kung Fu.
Yeah.
Except you're fighting somebody who has complete and total control of their body at, you know, molecular level. So, you know, that's how Gaius Mohiam made the Baron a fat ass.
I'm just saying, I'm not against what they did for the movie. I think the movie is a genius move because the martial arts of 1984, it wouldn't have been that special to look at. When you have the weirding way channeling into an audio weapon, now you have something to look at. You have a reason to bring out pyrotechnic guys. You have a reason to start hiring people to visualize how this would translate to a visual medium. And so it becomes kind of fun.
And I think that's what David Lynch was trying to do.
I do too. And
he
I
was trying to give people something to look at.
Frank Herbert didn't mind the change that he saw for the weirding way.
Not only that, but there's one thing that David Lynch did that Frank Herbert actually made canon.
Yeah.
And that's the astrogators folding space.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the books, they didn't fold space. They could just travel from one place to the other without running into a star.
And this way, it actually makes a lot more sense as to the importance of the Navigators Guild. because otherwise, all you need is just some guy like Han Solo to come along, like, hey, just get on my Millennium Falcon. We're going to go somewhere. Well, that'll take time. Folding
Never
space.
tell me the odds.
Yeah. Holding space is something completely different, and it's damn near effortless for these guys that are hopped up on spice, you know.
Well, another thing that thing did is the characters, when they traveled from Arrakis to Catane, it wasn't like your average sci-fi game. Basically, they took a ground cart to the starport, they got into a transport, and then they went up into orbit and docked with the Highliner, and then they hung out there for a while, and then they undocked with the Highliner and landed on Catane.
Yeah.
And, you know, no one's the wiser as far as what happened between, you know, the docking and the undocking, because it's actually against the rules to even try to find out how the, you know, if you try to spy on the navigators, you can lose your rights to ever fly on a Highliner again. And now you can, in Dune, you can just try to travel from one place to the other. But generally speaking, about 1 in like 6 times, the ship just never makes it. Because the human brain naturally, without being an engineer, cannot do the mathematical equations necessary to dodge everything in space.
Nope.
So that was the issue. And then they come up with, you know, well, and then, you know, David Lynch came up with the folding space thing, which I think is better. Honestly, I'm a big fan of that. But
I love that, and I think for my D&D campaigns, they use like I think it was Sword or what, Races of Stone in 3.0 or 3.5. They have the details on how you can build like a teleport pad, and depending on how much you're transporting, that depends on how much the initial base price is to cost for a 3x3 or a 4x4 section to do transit of items in this pad. And then every time you fire it off, there has to be like a diamond dust charge for it to kick.
Right.
And the teleport pads, I'm thinking about doing that for a lot of the game that I'm running, because the other way they do it is through coasters and traders. And, you know, putting things on a wagon or putting things on a ship, we've invented some awful things doing that. And one of them is IPA beer.
IPA beer.
Fucking IPA beer is the nastiest fucking stuff that people have claimed as beer. It's a beer-like substance. It is not beer. But
yeah, when I drank Florida Man beer, it literally tasted like lemonade. Because I think it had so much hops in it that it just tasted like really bitter lemonade.
It changes the whole palate.
And I was like, well, I mean, I drank it because it was called Florida Man, but I'm not super, you know, stoked by it. But, you know, it's made local, so, you know, they make it just in Tampa. So, you know.
And good on you for trying it at least. I mean, some people like myself, I probably wouldn't have.
Well, see, there's a story to that. And it is that I have a brother-in-law that's a dirty hippie. And all he wants to drink is IPAs. Because, like I said, he's a filthy hippie. He grew up in Gainesville around the college and, you know, so whatever. I mean, really nice guy, but also a filthy hippie.
Yes.
And when he visits, he only wants to drink IPAs. And my wife loves her brother very much, her older brother. So when we know he's going to visit, we always make sure to go out and stock the little mini fridge up with some IPAs special for him. And we were in the store looking for the IPAs for him, and they had Florida Man. And I was like, well, I mean, that seems like something we should do, you know? So that's how it came about. And I had one, and I was like, yeah, no, I don't like IPAs. I went right back to my Yingling Light and Yingling Black and Tan or whatever.
Have you tried Yingling Flight?
Yingling what?
Yingling Flight.
No.
Imagine if Yingling made a Michelob Ultra Killer. It has the same amount of carbs. It has the same amount of alcohol by volume. It's 4.2.
Mm-hmm.
But now it tastes good. It's got a very buttery, smooth taste. And if you like to do mixology, you want to add it, you want to add stuff to your beer, it's got a base that's good enough to where if you want to add a sweetener or if you want to add fruits to it to give more of a lambic spin, that's up to you. But you can do it with Yingling Flight because it's such a, I hate to say it's like a chicken of beers, but it's almost got no taste except for the butter.
Huh.
It's very interesting like that. I don't know if they sell it where you're at. They sell it here. They sell it here in huge volume.
Well, if they sell it in Texas, you know they sell it in Florida. Because Yingling's from Pennsylvania, so you know.
Left is in the back, I think.
Is he? Yeah, he is. But
Hey,
yeah, that's some Pennsylvania stuff. So it probably has to go through here to even get to where you are.
Actually, no. They put a Yingling brew house in Fort Worth.
Really?
Yep.
Hmm.
The demand for Yingling was ignored for years in Texas because they felt Louisiana was the farthest they could get and safely be able to transport before it spoiled. But
Yeah, that's wild too, because you would think you dudes would be down there like getting down with your Lone Star and all that kind of shit.
well, okay, to me, Lone Star beer is a rung lower than Yingling. It's cheaper by volume, of course, but it's very much a really like a Milwaukee Light or a Milwaukee.
I've heard that it's like old Milwaukee, like something
Yeah.
like that.
It's like Old Milwaukee. If Old Milwaukee was a local beer, it'd be called Lone Star. And
Right.
that's where Lone Star sits on my taste chart. You can get drunk as shit off of it. And you can take a 30 rack of it and you and your buddies can sit around the table and get a good buzz. Or you can just drink it yourself, sit on the toilet because you're just going to be pissing endlessly. But you can do that if you so choose. I won't recommend you do it. But
what about Alamo?
okay. Alamo beer off of I want to say it's off Goliad Street. It's one of those streets downtown. They've got a bridge right by the brew house that is, for the most part, it's a pedestrian bridge where you can have like yourselves and you can sit there at night and drink your Alamo beer and talk with your friends because it's connected to the brew house. And that's a typical congregation spot for the smokers. But the whole time you're doing that, you've got these bicyclists that try to run past you on their bikes. And it's like a game of chicken. But
I didn't even think Alamo was a real beer. I thought that was just a fictional thing.
No, sir. We've got Alamo Ale. We got Golden Alamo Ale, which is an amber that doesn't stack up to Yingling worth of shit. It tastes like the San Antonio aquifers, which I'm going to be honest with you. As a septic guy, I can taste a little bit of the process behind it. The purification doesn't quite work for me. And for me, Alamo Ale tastes like shit. I wish I could say something better than that. It's a very low tier taste. Give me Lone Star over Alamo every day, and I will be happy. Not with Lone Star Light, mind you, because I do want to drink something to get drunk, but give me something that has taste. And Lone Star's got taste. It's not great taste, but it's good.
Left just thought he was going to be a smartass because the beer they drink on King of the Hill all the time is freaking Alamo.
Yeah.
Well, we do have Alamo Ale, my friend. Hold on. Let me find this for you. No, I won't say no to Alamo Ale certain blends, but the base blend of the Golden Ale, nah, I'm not into it.
I'll just stick with my bourbon or rum.
Well, if I had my choice, I'd have an endless supply of tequila, but no, I'm good.
Yeah, I drink beer when I want to drink beer, and I'm not trying to get lit up.
And here, I didn't think you drank at all, James. I thought you'd quit because of your health.
Well, no, I had a really high blood sugar, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's 5.1 now. Because I lost so much weight and everything, I stopped being. So you can stop being diabetic, it turns out.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to lose a shit ton of weight and watch your diet.
Hmm.
So, like, if every now and then I want to drink a beer, it's no problem. I mean, I can't pound down 20 shots of vodka and stuff like that because that's just not good for you anyway. But
I don't even do much drinking myself. It's just a couple of things here and there.
you know, here's the thing, and maybe it's just in my man blood. Every now and then I'll be doing something and I'll just think to myself, you know what would be nice? Cold beer. And then I'll go out into my outside fridge and I'll grab a Yingling because my wife keeps it stocked with Yingling actually, and then I'll have a cold beer and then I'll be happy, because I don't have to drink
Yeah.
all of it all at once. I can just have a beer and be like, okay, cool.
No, it's nothing beats a nice couple of shots of whiskey.
Shut up. I don't even want to hear that bullshit from you
Why?
because I can't drink whiskey.
Ah.
Whiskey makes me the worst person ever. Like, not only do I hate everyone, but I hate myself when I drink whiskey. And what's crazy is if you give me a bunch of gin and tonic or vodka, I turn into a snugglebug. You know what I mean? I turn into one of those, I love you, man. You know
You're my
that?
best buddy.
I just want you to know, man.
I'll remember that if we ever hang out in person, James. Ah, shit! Somebody gave the big man whiskey. Fuck.
I won't even mess with it.
Ah.
Sorry. Don't even mess with it. And I'm from the state where bourbon is the thing.
Yep.
I'm
You
still
come from
like-
the Our biggest domestic product is like whiskey, bourbon whiskey.
Right. And I'm from the part of the state where they make a shit ton of it. But
Which kills me because, in all honesty, I know how geology and geography are, and I've seen the lay of oil out of Illinois.
okay.
Kentucky and Indiana don't do shit for oil. They really don't. They might do a little bit for coal, but there's oil. I bet in another 10 or 15 years, we might have another oil boom in the Midwest, all along the Mississippi and Ohio River valleys, because there is a fuck ton of oil that's 3.5 to 5 miles down, and nobody wants to fucking go get it because of EPA mandates or other things.
Well,
That whole time, what's going to happen? You're going to have new tech get developed in the oil field, and so they're going to be able to go down 3.5 to 4 miles without issue. They do that in Texas anyway. It's just we have to recase the wells every once in a while because the shit just gets too much pressure, and pressure causes heat. That's just
well, I feel the need to defend my home state from one disparagement you made. And that is, you said Kentucky's got a little bit of coal.
you guys have a lot
Eastern
of
Kentucky is nothing but coal.
Yeah, it's nothing.
I can go down to the river and walk around and pick that shit up off the side of the river. As a matter of fact, we've had wars over coal. Look up the Harlan County wars. Like, we have went to war over coal.
40% of our energy used to be coal.
Oh, yeah, man. And West Virginia is the same thing.
Yep.
Kentucky and West Virginia is just like we're going to have coal. Just don't even worry about it. And then they start shutting all the coal plants down and putting everybody out of business and taking away everybody's jobs and then telling them to learn the code. It's like assholes, man. But now they're opening up all the coal plants again, or all the coal mines, because I mean they can take the coal out of the ground and not even pollute it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, the way they do it now, it's crazy. They've got like these little cars that go in and you know, they either strip mine or they do a standard shoot you know, shaft. And it's like it's if you don't know much about coal mining and stuff, you just would have a hard time getting it, you know. But
I've seen enough at least.
yeah,
I
the
have no idea.
whole game has changed.
Yeah.
And that's good too, because nowadays if you get hired on to a crew mining coal, man, that's big money. That is a good job now. It's not like the old days loading 16 tons and what do you get and all that.
There's an old movie I kind of want to watch now because it had coal mining in it. It was about these four guys making a rocket.
Huh.
What's that movie called?
I don't know.
It was like four country kids who decided they wanted to make a rocket, and they had to stop
Explorers?
because their rocket was they thought their rocket caused a forest fire, and it turned out it wasn't their rocket.
Oh, that's not the Explorers.
Because the Explorers doesn't have a forest fire.
But anyway, yeah, we got coal, bro. We don't got oil though.
I think you do.
And the one thing though we do have in my part of the state, I don't know about Lett's part of the state, is we have water with an incredibly high amount of lime.
October Sky, that was the movie. It wasn't that
limestone dissolved into the water, right? And it's that limestone dissolved into the water that makes bourbon.
Mm.
Oh, that and that we age it in oak barrels that we char the inside of.
Yeah, it has to be freshly charred oak barrels. It can't be
Used
bourbon.
only one time.
Yep.
Whereas Tennessee whiskey, which believe it or not, I mean, my mom favors Tennessee sipping whiskey. They just age that in a standard oak barrel. It's not special or anything. And then after they decant the bourbon from those barrels, they sell the barrels to Scotch manufacturers in Scotland or wherever. And then they use those barrels when they age their Scotch. Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
So, but yeah, it's the Kentucky. We have so many caves, and we have a lot of hard water.
Yep.
And it's the hard water that makes the bourbon. That's why there's that rule that only whiskey
it's not
made in
bourbon
Kentucky to a certain way can be called bourbon.
Yeah, there's many fake bourbons, but the only real bourbons are in Kentucky.
Right. Now somebody was trying to change that law.
Yeah, no, it can't be changed.
So that they could call their whiskey from other places bourbon, but the answer was no. No.
See, I'm a big fan of bourbon. I don't have it enough, but I really like tequila, and we make tequila close by, so I just go with tequila.
Well, you know how tequila is, man.
Oh, I
At
do.
least I know how tequila is. Tequila is the drink that I can drink all night, right up until I stand up. At which point,
One tequila, two
It
tequila,
gets ya.
three tequila floor.
yep. I can be sitting at the table drinking shots of tequila with my friends, just tossing them back and shit, and I not even feel drunk at all, just having a great time, and stand up, and it's like,
That's
boom,
also,
it all hits you all at one time.
there goes the man.
Yeah, it's Tequila is some sneaky shit. It will sneak right up on you.
Hey James, getting back to the whole superhero thing though, I watched an
Yeah.
interesting video about the X-Men.
Did you?
Yeah, it was about Iceman and how his powers are literally impossible. Like it
Well,
breaks the laws of thermodynamics.
look, here's the first thing I'm going to say to you. Shut up.
It's like, do you know what actually ice is? It's the absence of heat. You're taking away the heat from things. How does that even work?
Bro, next you're going to be arguing how dragons can't exist. No one's interested in that.
No, I just found the video funny because you know,
Yeah,
applying
I
real
don't.
world physics to it.
I'm just like, stop.
Your powers are actually much more dangerous than that pyro guy.
Because you're sucking all the heat out of all the surrounding area.
Yeah.
So you're just going to turn the surrounding area into like a frozen wasteland.
No, actually, it's actually burning everything around the stuff that you're trying to freeze.
Oh,
You'd make
well,
a
see,
huge inferno because you're taking the heat and transferring it to somewhere else.
that's even worse.
Yes.
But I stand by my no. We're not talking about this.
She's like, don't you get it? It's in the name, Iceman. I don't burn things.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Not talking about it. Nobody's got time for trying to, have somebody scientifically explain how superhero powers work. I mean, what? I mean, the guy didn't mention that if the Flash actually ran that fast, he'd just die. The friction of the air would just cook him alive.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem with the Flash.
Yeah, he'd just get cooked alive.
Electro,
As soon-
they had Electro talk about how his powers worked.
Oh my God.
He's like, actually, I have the power to control weak electric forces, so I can like change protons and neutrons or something like that. Goes
Right.
into like molecular science. Like he's like,
see,
look, I can turn lead into gold.
I just want to ignore all that and play a game.
Yeah, he went and turned lead into gold. But guess what? Since it was gold, and lead and gold have different amount of protons, he had to change a few of them to neutrons, which made the thing horribly radioactive.
That.
Until it would eventually turn back into lead, because it's a horribly unstable thing to turn lead into gold.
Left. Sweet summer child. I mean, unless he had the Philosopher's Stone.
I mean, fair.
Right.
But
actually watched that movie not that long ago. As Above, So Below.
Did you like it?
What I'm talking about, Bruce?
Isn't that one in Paris?
Yeah, they go into the catacombs under Paris looking for a generic super sprue. Would be a lot of fun. I don't know of anyone that makes such a thing, but I do know Reaper Miniatures does sell like just random generic superheroes, like Mr. Muscle and Kung Fu Joe and shit like that.
Hey James, another superhero you need to get is Wildcat.
Wildcat?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why, but I'll look him up.
Well, in the version I've seen of him, he was the one that actually helped train Batman.
Oh.
And he was just like an old boxer.
My favorite hero is the Phantom. Just Billy Zane being a badass. Yeah. Oh, I thought the Phantom. No, that's the other guy that could. He had like an office in the middle of town, but he had the power to make it everybody not see it. Who was that?
Shadow?
Huh?
The Shadow.
Well, I think it's played by Baldwin in the movie, and he dressed like the Shadow. I mean, he wore all black and everything like that, but he had some kind of illusion powers where he could make
I'll be
he
right
could make
back.
people not see the things he didn't want them to see, including a whole building. So, I mean, that's a pretty good power. To be all like, this building over here, don't notice it. It'll all be good. Like, oh, okay. Nobody's going to notice this building for some reason.
I'm back.
Welcome
As
back.
it be, I'm sorry.
But yeah, Reaper in Lead and in Bones, they sell a pretty good collection of just generic superheroes, that you can use. And I mean, that's a pretty good thing. I've been really lazy lately, James, because I've been instead of fixing my 3D printer, replacing the LCD screen, which, I mean, I've done it before, so I know I can do it. I'm just being lazy as hell about it. So instead of doing that, I've just been buying miniatures off of Etsy, because you can find a lot of miniatures on Etsy for like $3. And, so I mean, yeah, it may not be great, but it is a lot easier to just go, oh, that's a cool figure, click. You know what I mean? Than to, even if the printer was working good, it would still be a pain in the ass, because you got to print it, and then you got to clean it up, and then you got to freaking, do all the bullshit. Or I can go click and wait a week and, get the miniatures I want.
Have you seen this one yet? This is a geese hydra.
That, yes, I've heard of the Goose Hydra, and that is terrifying. Working on your Stargrave cruise, well, any sci-fi figures, you got to work for that pretty much.
I know how to fight the
But
Goose Hydra.
I did buy
You need
some of those miniatures, though, James L.
You need a giant duck mecha with a I'm
Nah, it
excellent
wouldn't work.
hat.
But I do think something like that did happen in an episode of the show that had the bluebird and the raccoon working at the
Regular show.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
that's
that
what I was
they
talking
had
about.
some ducks that they raised to fight the goose.
Yep.
Because the goose
bunch
had
of baby
taken over the
ducks,
park
sending them
and
to
were
the
being
moon.
just jerks.
Yeah.
Goose are like that, though, for real. Like, if they like you raised them and they like you, then they're cool. But everyone else in the world is just going to eat a fat freaking sack of shit, because they will come for, they're coming. You know what I mean? They are not afraid of anything. And the thing with the goose is when it bites you, those assholes not only bite you, and granted, they have teeth. If you pry open a goose's mouth, you'll see serrated teeth in there, right? When they bite you, though,
Yep.
they twist and pull, right? So they want you to know that they hate you. So a giant multi-headed goose would be nightmarish.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that game on Steam called The Geese Game?
Oh yeah, where your whole job is just to destroy everything.
You're just supposed to fucking ruin a town.
Yeah, like you sneak into the old man's yard and like steal his water hose, and I mean, it's just like crazy shit, It's just this, but it's like the meme where it shows the goose and it's like peace was never an option. GW doing more price right. I'm sure they'll blame it on tariffs or some shit too. I stopped with GW, James. I know it's been a minute since you popped on the show, and I'm glad to see you. I hope everything's great down under. But I've completely disowned myself away from GW. I have actually been selling all of my 40K shit on local. There's a local market here in Central Florida. I've sold tons of stuff, man, tons of stuff, and will continue to. Now, I'm not quite ready to let go of my 30K army. You know, my 9th Legion. I've got Sanguinius up there, so there's a little bit of an attachment, you know what I mean? But the 40K shit and all the Primaris bullshit and all that shit, F it, gone.
Well, the thing is that even if you were enjoying 40K, you'd be in the middle of your next game and they'd throw out an edition change and be like, oh, got a mandatory pay this $300 fee on my iPhone or Samsung and buy the new rule set. And in maybe 2 years, my fucking Dark Eldar will get a goddamn codex that I'll be able to use for once for 3 minutes before they do the next edition change.
Dude, it's like you looked into my soul. Except not Dark Eldar. For me, it was Dark Elves, because I used to be a huge Warhammer Fantasy player, and the Dark Elves went 12 or 15 years without a codex.
I saw that. I remember that.
And
Because
it was just like, aren't we supposed to be one of the world powers in the old world? I mean, we own all of North America from Canada down to Mexico.
yeah,
I mean, they call it Nagaroth, but you know what the map looks like. It's fucking North America. And we can't get a codex? It's like, how hard is it for some asshole to sit down and write a codex?
just pin up a codex. That's
It
all I
can't
want.
be that difficult. But they make everything, you know, and the best freaking 40K rule set was probably 3rd and 4th. That
I'm
was
gonna
probably
go
the
with
superior 40K rule set, honestly.
I'm going to go with 3rd. 3rd had a good
Everything
rule
after
set.
that was just like bloat and stupid shit. And really what ruined 40K, even though I'm sure a lot of people will disagree with me, is when they got super obsessed with like tournament play. And it was just like, it's like 90% of people playing 40K are not playing tournaments. They're playing with their little brother at the house.
They're in a garage at their neighbors or down like 3 to 5 minutes from where they live with one of their neighbors that they just discovered is a geek too. And now that's what they do on Thursday nights. That's the majority of games.
Yeah. But Games Workshop got it into their head that everything had to be tournament, this and that. And then, of course, they outlawed anything. Right? They like in their new game, they didn't include Dark Elves or Lizard Men. They didn't include actually quite a few armies, but they're adding Fantasy China, Cathay.
Yeah, the last thing I want to do is run a campaign or run a country or a game list where my general can't reliably feed his troops.
Well, if I had to bet, James L., I would say it's just the Tau thing all over again. Yeah, second edition was pretty wild. I mean, but second edition 40K armies were so much smaller. It'd be like 20 Space Marines against like maybe 20 Orcs and, 20 or 40, Gretchen or whatever. So they weren't really huge battles under second. And like every army used rhinos and land raiders. It was like, hey, we've got these 2 model kits and every army can use them. Oh, well, Orcs had the Orc War Wagon, which was pretty badass, actually. And they had the special rule where it could carry as many Orcs as you could pile into it. But when you moved it, you had to actually slide it across the table. And if any Orcs fell off, they were automatically dead.
Yep. But
And some people might say they don't like that. But it was stupid shit like that made the game fun.
it was a funner game back then. You could actually enjoy yourself playing. You you had a reason with the war wagon, by the way, to explain to your wife, like, no, honey, I need to see if I can fit these 30 orcs in this figure or in this tank right here. I'm going to call it a figure case because that's what
Right.
you need for most of the battle. And then whenever I need to use it, then it'll fail me.
And it's like nothing could be depended upon. Like your Space Marine captain chucks a void grenade, and then the void grenade just goes directly back into your Marines and kills them
Oh,
all.
the fucking projectile die came out and it goes back this many inches. Fuck me.
Yeah, right. And then like the orcs had the same thing, but was a catapult that shot like a giant basket full of fucking hornets that could eat through Space Marine armor. And wherever it hit, you would put like the Hornet template down, and then it would just randomly wander all over the freaking table. I mean, you just never knew for sure exactly what was going to happen at any given time. And that was the beauty of it.
It sounds like self-sabotage to the game.
It is.
People loved it.
And then they took out that design principle and applied it only to the Goblin army and a little bit of the orcs after that. But they took out everything fun from second ed.
Yeah, they dropped the void grenades. They dropped the like tons of shit, like the underbarrel grenade launchers and all that. That all got dropped. And it was like, all right. And as every edition came out, it just got more homogenized. You know, they just kept turning it more and more into just the gray ooze, you know? And now it doesn't even have any character, really. If you want the actual hilariousness and character and whatever, you got to play 30K. And if you want to play orcs, go out and find a 7th edition codex, play orcs. I mean, we know for a fact that the Emperor, you know, fought with orcs during the Great Crusade. So there's no reason a person using a 7th edition orc codex couldn't play in a 30K game. But yeah. So you had the 3rd edition, which came out with Black Templars, and that was pretty good. But people got mad about you can disembark from a rhino, and if you're within so many inches of the enemy, you can charge them. Remember, they called it the Rhino Rush.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so they changed that. And then the 4th edition had some stupid shit. I forget which edition it was where everybody was playing like double Demon Prince Blood Crusher armies. Like every time you went to the store, everyone was playing. I have 2 Demon Princes that have wings and blah, blah, blah. And also like 3 units of 3 Blood Crushers. And then, you know, some chaff freaking Bloodletter demons or something. And the Blood Crushers were super OP, but they were also very expensive. Like $60 a piece. So you're playing against a guy and he's got 9 of them on the table. It's like, oh my God. Freaking Games Workshop, I hate you. Meanwhile, I'm showing up with, you know, 3 Leman Russ tanks, a handful of Chimeras, and a bunch of Steel Legion guys. And it's like my chance of winning is exactly 0. I am not winning a game. My army literally cannot, statistically, in any way ever beat the demon army. It's just not even possible. Like, even if I hit every time, I still couldn't beat that army. Yeah, and OGW was so cool. They like give you like, here's a White Dwarf magazine. And also in this White Dwarf magazine, here's blueprints to make an orc tank. Knock yourself out, guys, you know, and here's some blueprints. Just copy these things onto the back of a cereal box and make yourself some a Space Marine bunker, you know? Like, it was all about crafting, you know, stuff and just doing stuff, you know, and having fun. And then, like I said, they decided they wanted to get into tournament play, and that pretty much is that.
That sealed the deal.
That killed everything joyful out of the GW stuff that I wanted to be involved with. I
Yeah,
haven't had an army since fourth edition.
yeah,
And the army that I had was Dark Elf. It was a jet bike army.
yeah. Those were cool, man.
That was fucking amazing. You could zoom around on the map and take people's heads off unless you rolled like a 3 or less on a d6. If you had a good set of leaders for your squads, you could do it on a.
Well, you had to have your death wagon with your Archon and all of his incubi with him.
Yep.
So if anyone gave you any issues, just send those bastards over there to sort it out because they've got two-handed power weapons.
Second edition 40K was fun. Third edition I felt was actually where the metal met the road, and it became like actually a good game that wasn't based on just me drinking all the beers and having all the pretzels.
Right.
But that's kind of what it felt like.
That's when they standardized it and it actually become a game. Is third. But second was just a lot of fun. You know,
Yes.
It was just like you and a buddy, you got some armies, and you're just kind of running around doing shit, chucking void grenades at each other, shooting snotlings at each other, whatever, you know?
I don't have Stargrave yet, but I'm willing to think that Stargrave probably has some optional rules to bring back that fun little silliness of it.
Spanish guerrillas. I think you want to look at War Games Atlantic. They've been putting out a ton of stuff for Napoleonic. And I don't know if you care or not, but they've also announced that they'll be putting out miniatures for Traveler 2300 kits. So, you know, the Kafers and the Pentapods and all that shit. Now, unless you're like me, which is a 2300 fanboy, you probably don't give a shit. But if you are a Traveler 2300 fanboy, that shit made you very happy. It's a better version of Necromunda or Mordheim for one reason. And that reason is that 2 different crewmen in your team are free. So you never have to worry about playing a game, totally getting your ass whipped, making 0 money, and then not being able to put your gang back together, which was a huge problem with both Necromunda and Mordheim, where you would just have to retire your game. It was just like, yeah, I'm just done. I haven't got enough money to even buy Juve. It's over. Frostgrave and Mordheim both have 2 character types you can add to your army that costs nothing. Now, are they good? Not really. But
An extra body.
it's a body. Yeah, that's what it is. It makes sure that as long as your commander as long as your commander survives, you're in the game still.
Hey, I'm back.
Welcome back. Yeah, but I like Stargrave, but I've played a lot more Frostgrave. And when we were playing Frostgrave around here, we were playing 4-player, like on a 4x4 board with the each team had a corner, and then all the terrain in the middle. And some of those games got pretty crazy. Pretty crazy, you know. There was one game where like there was a tomb and undead kept spawning out of it, and we were so busy fighting each other, no one was killing the undead. And then pretty much next thing you know, there's like 20 skeletons just roaming about the table, and anything they get line of sight on, they attack. So You know, and even though they only got 1 hit point, they still do full damage. So, you know what I mean?
Sounds like you need a cleric to turn undead.
My gang was led by Thaumaturge, but that was just a wizard that specialized in healing. And one of the other gangs that was playing the game, he was playing a necromancer, so that asshole was actually summoning them. Like at the beginning of every game, he could summon a zombie and filled it, which meant his army was basically one bigger than everyone else's. But that one was a zombie, which kind of sucked. Yeah.
So I gotta ask, what's the big difference from second to first edition
Of Oathmark?
of Frostgrave?
They cleaned a lot of shit up.
Is
They
it
cleaned a lot of
easier
stuff
to
up.
run?
They made it better.
Okay.
It runs better. Everything about's better. The spells are rebalanced and better. The only thing I miss is in first edition, you could add a captain to your gang, and he was a meleeer who could gain XP and level up.
Okay.
And in second edition, if they've come out with that, I haven't found it yet. So that's kind of the negative. Is I honestly wish that in Frostgrave you didn't have to have your warband led by a wizard. I would be perfectly happy having a warband led by a warrior. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Would I be maybe outclassed by idiots summoning zombies and shit? Maybe. Or maybe my warrior is a badass and he's going to come across the table and start whipping somebody's ass. I mean, you never know, right? It depends on tactics.
So, is it easy to kit bash a captain into your Frostgrave second ed game?
You can just use the first edition rules, but there's some parts of it that, yeah, that can or cannot, depending, mesh up quite as perfectly as you might want it to. But yeah, you can totally do that.
Hey,
I mean-
James.
Yes.
Did I have Gothic space nuns? Or not space nuns, but war nuns.
I don't even know what that is.
I want battle nuns. Nuns with giant two-handed swords.
Oh, if you own Sisters of Battle, you could absolutely use them in a Stargrave game. You would just have to equip them with like a badass gun and armor. Not even, it wouldn't even have to be power armor, you know? Like if you're going to have a space marine, then yeah, that's going to be power armor. But
Oh, I thought you were talking about the fantasy version. Okay.
oh, the fantasy version, yeah. If you've got a bunch of cleric models, you got. Say you're a Pervo and you bought all the pinup cleric models that Reaper sells or whatever, you could definitely throw them in the group. I mean, the thing with Frostgrave and Stargrave is when they say they're miniatures agnostic, they mean it. They're not joking around.
Nice.
Like you can literally play any model as long as the figure is equipped correctly. So if you want a model to represent a thief, he has to have a dagger in his hand. But other than that, knock yourself out, man. Like when Hungar made his gang, like he had like halflings for thieves because they had little daggers. Like he had a kobold spearman in the mix and like, you know, an orc archer, and like he was just using whatever, you know.
Okay, James, I'm going to have to find the Pike Made, a Pike Made mini.
The Pike Made mini.
Yes.
I don't know what that is, but I wish you nothing but luck, Leth.
I found like a weird picture, and it's just like, it's called Pike Maids, and it has like women in maid outfits. Like this overly elaborate maid outfit holding pikes. I found
I
it
know
funny.
that if my 3D printer was working, there are a couple of companies that I've frequented in the past that sell um, poster pinup D&D characters, and
Definitely probably wouldn't work for what I'm looking for, but cool.
and you know how crazy some of those websites are.
Yeah.
The Druid that they sell looks like Belle Delphine.
Mm.
Like even got the tongue out and the eyes all crossed and shit.
Yeah,
And
actually,
is basically not, well, you get to choose whether like she's completely nude or just topless or got clothes or whatever. I mean,
if I could
you
get this in
wouldn't
the
think
right
that
size, I
there
think it
would
would
be
work,
that much
actually.
stuff, but yeah, there is, man. There is for sure.
Depending on the size, this could almost work.
I mean, yeah, you can do whatever you want. So if you want to have a war band full of anime girls running around, you could do it. I mean, I would think you're a weirdo, but you could do it.
Fair.
You know, but it's another game where if you've ever bought like a ton of Reaper miniatures or something and you got a bunch of them laying about, you can just pull them all out and voila, warband. Just that quick, you know? Warband, ready to go.
No racial traits in Frostgrave either, which means you're going to be both and have all dwarves or goblins or a mix or whatever.
Right. The only thing that matters in Frostgrave is the weapon in their hand. That's it. That's the
That's
only
cool.
thing that matters.
If I wanted to make it all Final Fantasy, I could.
Absolutely. As long as they are equipped correctly. So if you eventually say you get enough money or something to hire a knight, then the figure you put on the table, regardless of what race it is, needs to be wearing heavy armor, have a shield, and a sword. Because that's how you know it's a knight. And it's really about you and your opponent both knowing what in the hell a miniature is. So as far as possible, you really want to do WYSIWYG. So that way, if I see a guy running across the table with just a dagger, I understand that it's a thief and that thieves are very fast. And I might need to behave a different way than if it weren't a thief. So you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Which, I mean,
basically it.
with like Final Fantasy, I think it was 5. There's so many jobs in that one. You could possibly make an whole army out of those classes.
Yeah, Final Fantasy was always kind of weird to me because I was never quite sure, like, whether it was supposed to be a fantasy or a sci-fi.
Mostly fantasy, except for 7. 7 was kind of sci-fi-ish.
Because it's like you would ride around on your chocobo with your sword, but then you get on a big fight on a giant train. And it was just like, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just saying I was like, what are we doing here?
I did find it weird and funny that you could suplex a ghost train in Final Fantasy VI.
And then I tried to play Lineage. Oh my God. Not a good idea.
That's a terrible game.
I don't know much about Lineage. I've heard of the name once.
Yeah, it's first off, it's horrible because it's the grindiest effing MMO ever.
Yes.
The women are embarrassing. And I say this as somebody that's somewhat a little bit of a perv. But like the dark elf running around, like, and every time she runs, you can see her underwear and shit like that. It's weird, you know? It's like, this is weird. And then the fact that the server I was on was overrun with Chinese gold farmers. So every time you went out to try to find a fucking rat to kill to get 3 XP in an hour, every place will be camped with Chinese people yelling "ring ring" at you, which is apparently Chinese for "go away." So yeah, it's good times. Good times. That was the kind of game that I definitely wouldn't want to play with like my mom or something, because I don't know if it's Koreans or who made it, but it's just a pervy ass game.
A lot of Asian ones are like that.
Yeah, and this is one of them. Like all the humans, like all the human males were like super pretty boys, and it was just one of those. It was like, God, this freaking game already, But some people liked it. I mean, mostly Asians. It was kind of like an even more crazy version of Arcade.
Did you ever play Arcanum?
I did not.
Nope.
Troika Games made it about 20 years ago, and it plays a lot like the old Fallout games, the good ones.
Yeah.
And it's a really cool steampunk America. Like, America got settled, and so this is back Victorian era America, and you could play any of the fantasy races like a half orc or dwarf or whatever, but it was a really classed up RPG, and it had a little bit of classism in it, so you had to have the right social class to talk to people of a certain tier.
Right.
So well done.
Sounds good. I probably would have liked it.
Do you like steampunk? Do you like Victorian age? Yeah. If nobody ever talks about that game, super hard, very much not a grindy game, but trial and error. Lots of trial and error. If you don't mind that, it's great. I'm just sad that it's not out anymore, or it's just forgotten. Now they just had a sale, and it's $5 on Steam.
Huh.
James, this is a game that Arcanum, yes,
Yeah.
of Steamworks and Arcanum Obscura or something. Really, just one of the best RPGs ever made.
I mean, I don't believe I can force myself to leave Dune
Okay.
anytime soon.
I mean, you are in your Discord, in your voice chat, waiting for other members of your clan to join up with you a lot of hours throughout the week. I get it.
Yeah, well, the problem is my one brother has been working 27 hours of overtime so far.
Haas?
No, I've got 5 brothers, bro.
I was unaware of this. I knew there was one more aside from
Well, and my second youngest brother, Sean, just got his truck totaled because someone T-boned him when he's coming down the hill.
Oof.
can't really do much about
bunch
that.
of math heads from Antioch. And then my brother Steven's the one that went to prison at Kentucky State for lighting a guy on fire because he loaned the guy like a dime bag, and then the guy wouldn't pay him back. And eventually they were somewhere, and Steven's really little, like 5'4" maybe. And he was all like, hey, man, I need you to give it back. And the guy's like, hey, F you, what are you going to do about it? At which point Steven doused him with a quart of kerosene and lit him on fire. So that was what Steven was going to do about it. The state of Kentucky frowns upon that sort of behavior. They are not fans. So Steven had to go away for 7 years, I think, before they gave him time out for good behavior or whatever. And he came out of there covered in freaking neck and face tattoos and all that. That would be funny, right? The dwarves, James, Hungar, Mungar, Bungar, and Pippin. Like, but I've got a brother named Tony that I've never met.
What? Wait, what?
Yeah, I got a brother named Tony I've never met.
Where's he at now? Do you know?
Yeah, Kentucky.
How old is he?
Oh, God, 16?
Congratulations on your parents.
Oh, no, this is Tony would be my biological dad and his 27-year-old wife when he was 70. I've got a brother and a sister from that. But then he died, and I've never seen either of them, and nor have I ever seen his wife, who is 10 years younger than me. But I mean, hey, whatever.
You know, it's kind of weird. You start you get 45, 50, and women that are in their early 60s, they come on to you. And then ladies that are like freshly single with like single digit age children, 30, 36, hell, even 27, they're hitting on you. It's a very fun period for a man if you have your options open between 35 and 45.
Well, this idiot was 100% military disabled from all the crazy shit that happened to him in Vietnam. So the only reason he got women is because they knew he was getting that check every month. Because as I've told you, I live in a very poor part of Kentucky, right? So basically a lot of the women that were getting with him were basically whores. You know, they were banging his old crusty ass because they knew he was getting paid, 30 grand a year in VA benefits and shit.
And the funny thing is that 30 grand in Kentucky will get you a happy lifestyle.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, the other thing with him, though, and one time when I lived with him, I went through this, is in addition to the VA money he was getting, he was also getting Section 8 housing. So, yeah, I lived in Section 8 housing multiple times. And I'll tell you right now, it sucks. Sucks balls. It's not even like people talk about the ghetto. Well, let me tell you, there's such a thing as a white ghetto, too.
That's considered
It's on Burnside. I used to live there.
I consider a white ghetto to be Appalachia, because as much as people might think that I'm a racist for saying that, like, no, there's whole chunks of Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, where you're going to see like a lot of poor white people that are eking out an existence at best, as you could say that, but they're not doing well at all. But they're not in any mindset or capacity to move to a city where there might be opportunity for them, because they feel they've got it better out in the country.
Shit, yeah. You couldn't have took a U-Haul truck up there and forced my grandparents to move. Good luck. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Died up there too. They were not leaving for nothing. Now my other grandparents on my maternal side, yeah, they sold out their property and moved down here as soon as, it become, a good idea, right? But on my paternal side, like my actual blood paternal side, and I never really ever talked to him, and he never sent me so much as a birthday card or anything. Absolute scumbag. I mean, a war hero, but also a scumbag. Yeah, you couldn't drag them out of those hills, man. Wouldn't do it. They just set up there in their house with their outhouse and their chickens on the farm, and Never once would any of them take welfare. Heaven freaking forbid. Or food stamps. That ain't happening. Nope. I don't know what it is. They've been up there since 1740. And they just don't want the government involved in their life ever. In any way. At all. You know what I mean? That was just their attitude about it. It was like, the government exists. We want them to go away and never come here or talk to us. They had their own rules, like screw the game and wildlife people, because my grandpa believed that God put all the animals on the earth for us to eat. And he'd be damned if some guy with a badge would tell him he couldn't. Which meant, a little poaching went on, A little poaching. I mean, not that they ever got caught because, what? Some cop's going to come down there into those mountains trying to find them out there killing deer. Good luck, I would bet you, I'd guarantee you half the time the cop just parked his car and took a nap. And then when X amount of time was done, went back and was like, didn't find anybody. I mean, because if you're the cop, you also got to think about, do you really want to find them?
What's going to happen when I do find them? That's
right. You're walking through the woods with your rifle. They're in the woods, and they're armed to the teeth too. Are they going to agree to come with you peacefully, or are they going to kill you and shove you into a cave?
More than likely, it's going to be some sort of discussion that will start initially with gunfire.
Right. So, we had a guy that lived down the street. We called Elmer Fudd the Dud. He is a U.S. Marshal, which is respectable, but he never messed with us. He'd ride by, we'd wave at him. He had his little Jeep, and he'd cruise by and we'd wave at him, and because it's just how it is, you know what I mean? I told you guys the story of the time that the cops beat that Stevens boy up, right?
You haven't shared this with me yet.
Well, there's a family called the Stevenses.
Okay.
Stevens, right? And so the sheriff and his son, they had this bad habit of arresting drunks and beating the shit out of them and then taking them to jail, right? That was just their thing. So they arrested one of the Stevens because he's out drunk, and they beat his ass really good, and they took him to the jail. And about a month later, they got a call for domestic violence down the hill from where my mom lives now. And the sheriff and the deputy were father and son, right? So they pulled up at the address of the domestic violence, and all of a sudden their cars got just riddled with shotgun rounds, instantly killing them both before they could even get out of their cars, right? So then that caused a big problem, right? Like state and federal.
Have a good nature walk.
Yeah, have a great night. State and federal people had to get involved, right? And the dad of the boy who had been beaten, he copped to the whole thing. He said he did it. And so they tried him, and he got sent to prison, and he died 3 months later because he had stage 5 colon cancer or whatever anyway. And whoever killed that sheriff and that deputy back in the 70s, they still out there. They're still walking around, doing their thing. And that sheriff and that deputy are definitely not beating any drunks. My mom used to play a game where she would speed through Somerset and get a cop to chase her. And then when she would haul ass down 27, and she'd get to the turnoff to go up the hill to Tateful, and she would turn off and cross the railroad tracks, and the cop would keep going straight with his lights on. But he wouldn't come across those tracks. You know what I mean? And these are 100% true stories of Kentucky. Like, I'm not even lying. I my hand on a Bible.
Okay, James, some of your audience might not be aware of the American South and the absolute ass-kickingness of the people of the American South. You've heard of the Battle of Athens, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Left was talking to me about it the other day, actually.
Yeah,
Did
there's
you
a
watch
whole
the film?
movie about that.
Yeah.
There's whole movies about it. There's Fat Electrician video on it. It's just a well documented thing. Like when you're dealing with Americans, be wary, you know. And
Yeah, just because you're a cop don't mean you can abuse
doesn't mean shit.
because if you abuse people, you're gonna catch it back. I mean, you
Yep.
know, what comes around goes around.
Yeah. And
Apparently, one place, I can't remember exactly where, but I think it was also in the South, where there was like this one drunk guy that was married to somebody who was underage, and everybody in this town hated this guy. Finally, at one night, whenever there was like this whole crowd of people around him, and they were so fed up that I'm pretty sure multiple people shot him.
no,
And-
that I've read this account, and nobody's at fault. He just died naturally of
Yeah,
like
he just died naturally.
37 gunshot wounds. Let me bing this. I gotta find this. Bully gets shot by everyone in town.
Everyone down.
Okay.
It's like
So
nobody's
you
on
know you have effed up when everyone in the town you live in just hates your guts.
Welcome to
hate you.
Skidmore.
Hate your guts enough.
Welcome to Skidmore, Missouri.
Yeah, Skidmore, Missouri.
This guy, Kenneth Rex McElroy, I'm going to read their wiki.
Yep.
He is a American criminal and convicted attempted murderer who resided in Skidmore, Missouri, and he was known as the town bully. His unsolved killing became the focus of international attention. Over the course of his life, McElroy was accused of dozens of felonies, including assault, child molestation, statutory rape, arson, animal cruelty, hog and cattle rustling, and burglary.
Damn.
He escaped conviction 21 times, except for the last.
Because he was
indicted.
intimidating all the jurors.
He was indicted 21 times but escaped conviction, except for the last time. And in 1981, McElroy was convicted of attempted murder in the shooting of the town's 70-year-old grocer, Ernest Bo Bowenkamp. McElroy was released on bond pending an appeal, after which he engaged in an ongoing harassment campaign against Bowenkamp and others who were sympathetic to Bowenkamp, including the town's Church of Christ minister. Here's where the metal meets the road. On June 30th, 1981, he appeared at a local bar, the D&G Tavern, armed with an M1 Garand rifle and bayonet, and later threatened to kill Bowenkamp. And on the next week, in July, McElroy was shot and killed in broad daylight as he sat with his wife Trina in his pick-em-up truck on Skidmore's main street. Skidmore's like six or seven roads, not very big.
Yeah.
He's struck by 2 bullets from at least 2 different firearms, but in front of a crowd of an estimated as numbering between 30 and 46. Despite many witnesses, nobody came forward to say who shot him. And as of 2025, no one has been charged in connection with Mr. Bully McElroy's death.
Well, I mean, there you go.
Now,
Yeah.
the early life that he had, we can kind of point to some contributing factors to his disposition. He was born on June 1st, 1934, the 15th of 16 children born to Tony and Mabel McElroy. His parents were poor migrant tenant farmers who moved between Kansas and the Ozarks before settling outside of Skidmore.
And at the age of 15, he'd already dropped out of high school with an eighth grade education, quickly established a local reputation as a cattle rustler, small-time thief, and a womanizer. For 2 decades, McElroy was suspected of being involved in theft of grain, gasoline, alcohol, antiques, and livestock, but he avoided conviction when charges were brought against him 21 times, often after witnesses refused to testify because he allegedly intimidated them, frequently by following his targets or parking outside their homes and watching them. So here was represented by the defense attorney, Richard Gene McFadden of Gallatin, Missouri. He had at least 17 children by 3 of his wives and 3 other young women and girls. With his second wife, Sharon, he had Jerome, Tammy Sue, Debbie, Tina, and Teresa, born between 59 and 65. With third wife, Alice Wood, born in 46, she had Juarez, Tonia, and Ken Jr., born between 69 and 75. Fourth wife, and that young girl was born in 57, died in 2012. He had Jerome, or Jeffy, later D-Rome, Oleta, and Reno, born in 73, sometime between 76 and 77, and 78. And then he had a 15-year-old named Donna, that she bore him a son, Marcia, and Marcia Street had Tony in 1971. The girl, Harry N. McLean, called Sally D. She's born around 47. McElroy had another 4 kids, another Ken Jr., Lisa, Jeffrey, and a fourth, born 61, 63, 64, and 65, who were put up for adoption when their youngest was born. His last wife, Trina, he met her when she was 12, and in 8th grade, he was 35. He raped Trina repeatedly. Her parents initially opposed the relationship, but McElroy threatened them into an agreement by bringing down their house and shooting the family dog.
What?
So Trina became pregnant when she was 14, dropped out of school in the 9th grade, and went to live with him and his third wife, Alice. So McElroy divorces Alice and married Trina in order to escape charges of statutory rape because she was only 16 at the time.
God.
Days after she gives birth, she and Alice fled to Trina's parents' house. At that point, McElroy tracks them both down and brought them back. And while the McLeods are away, McElroy once again burned their house down and shot their new dog.
Jeez.
Once again, burned their house down and shot their new dog. So this is not without cause.
I mean, anybody that shoot a dog.
He shot 2 dogs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He gets what he deserves.
So
F him, man.
The Skidmore, Missouri, like if you ever want to live in a town where you know the people aren't going to really want to mess with you and they don't want to get in your involvement, Skidmore, Missouri must be a beautiful town this time of year.
Right? Just kind of mind your own business. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's not much of a town anymore. Apparently, it's
that
been
is
declining.
as crazy
Vastly.
as the cop murdering. Or
You know the bad thing, I just heard that Pusser lied.
at least close.
I heard that Buford Pusser lied his ass off.
Who's Buford Pusser?
You remember the movie Walking Tall?
Yeah.
Well, the folklore that went around the making of that mythology around Buford Pusser,
Yeah.
that all of that's a lie.
Aw.
Yeah.
We're just not allowed to have heroes anymore.
No. He
He was never my hero anyway. My hero is more like Josie Wells.
I like Josie Wales better. You're
Yeah.
right.
You know,
The outlaw Josie Wales. Josie.
you gonna pull those pistols or whistle Dixie?
Ching Lee's my hero.
Yeah.
King Lee. Oh my God. I can't see where the fuck, but this battleship's a fucking sniper rifle.
Right. Yeah, I watched the fat electrician talking about that guy.
My favorite story is where he was in that like firefight and he just gets up and just sits there in the middle waiting for somebody to shoot at him. They miss. He just shoots them, gets them.
Sinks him.
Yeah. And it's just like he does it over and over again. He's like, yeah, I think I got a few.
I like the fact that
Well,
like,
it seems like, Bruce, this is something that Leth and I mentioned. Like all of our greatest heroes of World War II had to
lie
can't
on their
Had
cheat
to
on their-
lie about their age and eyesight.
Yeah,
It's like none of them could see worth a shit.
they were all 14 years old when
And
they
they were
went.
like, Audie Murphy was like 15 when he joined.
The short man from Texas, a man
Yeah.
that can do.
He's just, well, I mean, when you're 15, you're probably not going to be super tall anyway.
No,
You know what I mean? You're
I
15,
know.
just
I
a
was
kid.
16 when I got 5'6".
Yeah,
I
I
was-
mean,
I was actually kind of probably tall for my age when I was 15.
and it didn't stop him from basically taking on a whole damn German battalion by himself.
Yeah,
Just
no
going
kidding.
nuts.
The part about him that kills me is that he just effortlessly just started killing these guys left and right. There'd be oncoming fire, not hit him. Like literally protected by God the whole time. And
Okay. I think Fat Electrician talked about this, or someone did. Okay. You know how George Washington was in the British Army, right? Well,
Yeah.
he was. And at one point, he was a courier. Because, you know, that's how they communicated. They, you know, give a note
Yeah,
to
yeah.
a guy and tell him to carry it, right?
Yep.
And every courier in the British Army had been shot and killed except him. So he was the only courier, and he was running back and forth and back and forth. And these Indians were shooting at him just nonstop, right? They were shooting at him and shooting at him and shooting at him. No one could hit him, even though his jacket had bullet holes through it. He had like bits of lead fragments in his hair. I mean, but somehow he just never got hit, right? So anyway, the old Indian, fast forward, you know, many, many years, the old Indian's dying, and he hears that George Washington is like in the town. So he tells his men they got to take him to see this man, and they do. And George Washington, you know, lets him in, you know, like, hey, you know, whatever, cool, right? And this Indian tells him, I am a great marksman. I know for a fact I killed you 17 times. He says, the Great Spirit must have been looking over you because you should not be alive. You know, he said, the old Indian even said that towards the end, he ordered his men to just stop even shooting at him. Because they were just like, you can't kill this guy.
It's
So
like,
just don't even try.
well, it's not worth it. You wasted your ammo there.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, you're just wasting ammo. Just let this guy go. And that's supposedly a true story of a young George Washington.
I remember that story too.
He was fighting. It was during the French Indian War, and the old Indian chief was not an old Indian chief at that time. He was a young Indian warrior. Was fighting for the French at some battle, and swore up and down that he knew for a fact he had hit Washington at least 17 times. And he probably did because, like I said, Washington's jacket had holes in it. So, you know, I mean, they were getting close, just no cigar.
Oh.
Washington, wasn't this just discussed on not habitually fat, but kind of consensual? Where they were talking about George Washington being just evading, or either it was kind of consensual or the Unsubscribed show. But they just talked about this like a few
Probably
days back.
right, but another great one.
Well, Washington was a ladies' man. I know that.
He
Yeah.
was.
He was pretty much the superhero of his era. After the Revolutionary War and after he stopped being president, like he was, but then again, he was like 6'6" or some shit, you know, muscular. I mean, he had bad teeth, but hell, who didn't back then?
Yeah.
And, you know, it was like this guy apparently died of a cold or a flu he contracted after jumping out of his neighbor's second floor window in the snow. because he come home and Washington was upstairs giving it the old glory to Mrs. whoever that farmer was. So
Oh.
Washington had to jump out buck naked with his clothes in his hand, running through the snow to not get caught, and ended up catching pneumonia and dying.
Oh,
Wow.
That guy was a maniac.
you know, another badass is Cassius Marcellus Clay.
Well, I mean, yeah.
His story is one of my favorites.
His story is amazing, and the fact that like there's a internet meme where tally ho, 4 ruffians have entered my home without my consent, and this revolutionary guy talks about loading up I've got a musket ready to go, let me light the fuse, bam, 3 ruffians left, and then like he's got a small hand cannon and he loads it with grape shot, tally ho, and he lets 2 of them have it in the face.
You're right.
Just like the founding fathers intended. That's how you Google that. Just as the
I've
founding
seen that,
fathers
yeah.
intended. I think
I've seen that.
a donut operator showed me that for the first time, and I thought that was fantastic.
And I mean, I'm going to get just the slightest bit political before I start thinking about ending the stream.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Cassius Clay took the name Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, isn't that stupid?
Muhammad was a redheaded white man that owned slaves.
Mm-hmm.
Cassius Clay was a badass
Badass who freed slaves.
who freed slaves. So it's like, I don't know if you got your shit right, you know?
Oh, then there's Sam Whitmore, who wouldn't be he wouldn't be 100 the British Army and killed 3 without dying.
I'm just saying it doesn't seem like a good idea. Seems like he might have wanted to keep the name of the abolitionist and not the slaver. But hey, whatever, right? What do I know? Nothing. But I'll drop it at that because, I mean, we don't
Yeah.
need to get into a big debate about it. But, you know, as Cassius Clay, the second one, is a brother from my native home, you know, I have opinions about what he did. But pretty much everything else he ever said, I agree with. You know,
Hey, he did seem to mellow out with age too, so there's that.
there is that.
I like.
I remember when some English guy was interviewing him, asked him if he'd ever date a white woman, and he's like, hell no.
God, that was hilarious.
And the guy's all like shocked, and he's like, why? He's like, well, I want my kids to look like me. You know? It's like, I want them to look like some kind of thing. And the British guy's just like, what do you do?
Fuck.
You know, this dude is on here saying, you know, he's going to marry a black lady and have a bunch of black kids. He don't want a bunch of mixed race kids. And everybody's losing their freaking minds.
I'd see they're laughing.
Right? It's just like,
With
that's
all
how
these
we
guys'
laugh.
reactions to it, I just feel like, what is he?
Finally, somebody having pride in who they are.
Well, I mean, like I've told the story about when I was very young, one of the toys I got was a Muhammad Ali that had a button on the back that when you hit the button, he'd do the float like a butterfly, sting like a bee thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, Muhammad Ali, when I was a little kid, he was kind of like a state hero, you know?
Yeah, he was. He was the big thing in the late 70s.
Right. In the late 70s, he was from Kentucky, from Louisville, which, you know, we all hate, but whatever. And he was a champion, and, you know, it was like a sort of a sense of pride that everyone from Kentucky could be like, hell yeah.
That's
you know,
my guy.
that's
Yeah.
my guy. I mean, Cassius Clay Boulevard is still up in Louisville. And on top of the sign, it's got the silhouette of him in his fighting stance. It's pretty badass. Unless they've changed it since the last time I've seen it. But
Who knows? I haven't been up there in old.
yeah, pretty badass, man.
Ah,
So all of us young kids, in the 70s, we were all like Ali fans. Now, as a grown up, I honestly think that George Foreman beat his ass.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that you really can't deny that.
But Ali played the judges like fiddles, and he got the decision.
Yep.
But if you watch that fight, it's pretty clear that Foreman is rocking
Foreman
him
was
pretty
the
hard.
obvious winner on this.
But anyway, it's been a couple hours. I think I'm going to go to bed.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna head out way myself. I got to wake up for work at 2. So it's been a pleasure being here with everybody.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, this girl was really easy to paint. Let me put her down. Also, you see who that is in front of my camera?
Batman, and then you got a horseback mounted figure, and who's
That
that?
is
More like Captain
King
America.
Baldwin of Jerusalem on the horse.
Ah.
You remember in Kingdom of Heaven when he rides up and he's the leper?
Yep.
And he tells Saladin, he's like, I pray you pull your troops back to Damascus. Or else we'll all die here. And Saladin was like, okay. Because he's all like, do we have terms? And Saladin is like, yes. See, all I got to do really for this one is paint the ermine on her thing and do a little shading because she just wears white.
Emma Frost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. She just wears white. Everything's white. So I painted her skin and I don't got to worry about her fingers because she wears those long gloves.
Yep.
And the tall boots. So yeah.
What did you think about the X-Men movie that had Emma Frost in it? And I can't. Was that wasn't Days of Future Past, was it?
I don't even remember.
It was one of the Sony ones, so it wasn't something that lasted in your head that long. There was an awful
I
lot of.
always tell Bear everything I know about Marvel superheroes is stuff I saw either on a movie, a TV show, or a Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah, not
Because
exactly.
I
something like
never
that.
read not a damn one of the comics.
I didn't read any comics till I was in my 20s, and even then, I didn't read all of them. I had a handful of ones I'd read at my friend's house while I went to the bathroom, and that was about it. 'Cause-
Yeah, my brother got me to read a couple.
Yeah.
And that would be Dark Knight Returns, Sandman, and The Tick.
The Tick is
and,
high dollar.
And then also, I pretty much got addicted to Poison Elves before Drew Hayes died, the creator of Poison Elves. But unfortunately, the knucklehead died of a heroin overdose because that's what you do.
You know, the bad thing is that I started reading Berserk. Like,
Oh, yeah, I've got Berserk, but I don't consider that a comic book.
I only call it an art book, but it's definitely its own brand because it's so much better than most comics.
Yeah, it's a
So
manga.
much.
It's a something. I mean, I've got the collector's ones. I think I've showed them off with the black covers and the gold writing. It's weird though because they read backwards from our books.
Yeah. They read left from right, not right from left.
But yeah, I don't know. I do remember though that internet meme when the one guy's like describe these animes in like, you know, a short thing, and when he got to Berserk, he's like Berserk, and the dude just looks dead at camera and says pain.
Pain.
Just pain.
Pain.
But anyway, good night to you, William.
Night.
And thank you guys for joining me and making this fun. I got a lot of things done, so I'm really happy. You know what I realized before I go too? This is a Reaper figure, right? It turns out that a Pharaoh figure could be perfect for a superhero.
Yeah.
Named the Pharaoh. He could be a super villain and like, you know, be up to no good, you know, the Pharaoh. I mean, it's weird. It's like there's so many character or miniatures for like D&D or whatever game that would easily fit in a superhero game. Like, okay, let's put this guy in, right? It's H.P. Lovecraft.
Are you familiar with Loot Studios?
I think so.
I'm thinking about my friend. He got involved with a fantasy set that they put out every month, and this is the basic like demon monster they have for one of those months, and
Cool.
the detail on this SOB is just absolutely insane. This is literally the level of detail that I think is about correct, but I think it's closer to the level of detail where you're like, that's too much. I don't want to paint that much. I don't.
Yeah. Some figures they go a little overboard.
But I think it's cool that the option to paint that much detail is there. I will
This
see
is
you
a
all.
Reaper figure that could easily be a superhero mutant.
Oh my. Yes.
Just a female that has some powers and wings for some reason.
Fuck, girl.
Yeah, I mean, it's so, the more I think about it, it's like crazy. It's like so many different figures. Like pretty much any guy in power armor could be a superhero. Like Iron Man, except a different kind of power armor. But anyway, I'll keep talking.